What's going on, guys? Isaac here, back with another $500 PC build featuring the new AMD Ryzen 3 3100 processor. And to go with that, the processor I chose for this build is the AMD Ryzen 3 3100 3.6 GHz quad-core processor. This processor just came out and is a great budget-minded PC or processor for your PC. And for a quad-core priced at $110, you really can't get much better than this unless maybe you go some used hardware. A lot of people don't want to do that, but this PC should be able to handle games as long as you have enough graphics to power it, which this does. And for that price, you really can't argue with it. Now, I'm going to use the same CPU cooler that came with this processor, since this really won't be putting out much heat, and you could overclock with the stock CPU cooler it comes with, but just base speeds, that processor should be fine. Now for the motherboard, I did go with something you could upgrade stuff with. So I went with the B450 motherboard instead of the lower tier A320 boards. But the board I went with was the Gigabyte B450M DS3H micro ATX AM4 motherboard. And it is priced around $73. And you really can't find any micro ATX B450 boards for any less than that unless it's on a promo. But this board offers you some expandability in terms of chips that it supports, in terms of the newer Ryzen chips that are going to come out. Just say you build this PC now and maybe you want to upgrade a year down the line or so, or even 2 years down the line. If you just want a little bit more performance, you can probably get one of those CPUs and be able to update the BIOS for this one and just put it in there. But it also comes with 4 RAM slots and an M.2 slot, which I did want for upgradability. And speaking of RAM, I chose the G-Skill Aegis 8GB kit of DDR4 3000 memory. And I just went with this mainly because it's on the cheaper side. You can go for about $10 more and get the higher speed RAM, which you may want to do. But for $35, you really can't get anything less than that. And this also offers some upgradability to where if later down the line, just say a month or so, maybe you save up some more money and you can go ahead and get that 16 gigs of RAM that you need. Or you can just leave the 8. You ought to be fine with that for a while. And on to the next, we have the storage. And I chose an SSD for this build, and the SSD I chose was the PNY CS900 240 gigabyte SSD. And you could also go for just a plain hard drive, but trust me, what you'll want to do is you'll want to get the SSD first. Even if you could spend around $20 more and get a 500 gig version. But what I would do is I would start off with the 240 gig, this one right here, and have your games that you play on that. You may have to uninstall some games every now and then, but that'll be fine. But you wait a few months down the line, save up some more money, and you get a 2 terabyte hard drive or a 1 terabyte hard drive and put that in your system and you'll be good to go. But for the $500 price point, I just went with the SSD to start off with. And moving on from that, we have the video card, and I chose the Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1650 Super 4 gig video card. And for this price point, this budget minded, you really can't get anything better than the 1650 Super. There is some AMD cards that you could go with, but I just went ahead and went with the NVIDIA card. Not really favoritism or anything. It was just, it offers maybe some more features in terms of like software and like compatibility reasons. This does not have ray tracing though. That's the only thing though with these 1600 series cards. These do not have the ray tracing as the higher end NVIDIA cards. So if you wanted ray tracing and stuff like that, which the technology is there but not really enough, you could go for the higher end. But for this budget minded build, I went with the 1650 Super. And priced for $160, really can't go wrong with that. Now for the case, this is pretty much just your choice. But I went ahead and just chose a nice looking case, and I chose the Fantex P300 ATX mid-tower case. And at $55, you really can't go wrong with it. Nice case, great expandability. I've had a few Fantex cases in the past, and there's nothing really wrong with them. They have dust filters and all that you'll need, and offer good enough expandability. They do have hard drive bays, which you'll need. They're in the front of the case, and that does offer a tempered glass window and plenty of cable management space. And finally, for the power supply, I chose the Cooler Master Elite V3 400 watt 80 plus certified ATX power supply. Now, this is a very budget power supply. Does not mean it's not a good power supply. It is a good power supply, but for around this price point of $40 to $50, you really can't find anything that's going to be semi-modular. Definitely not modular. But this was a good power supply to choose, and it does have black cables, I'm pretty sure. It doesn't have the mustard colored cables. It does have like a sleeve over them, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. But at $48, nothing really to go wrong with. And with the release of the 3100 and the 3300X, there'll be I've already done a PC build with the 3300X. You can go check out if you want to. It's about $100 more for that build. And it does have a better graphics card and a little bit fewer different components. But anyway, you can go check that out if you want to. But this PC right here, it would be great as an entry computer. Great to get into building your own computer. These components, there's really nothing that you can do wrong to them. You just put them together and they'll work. And anyway, thanks for watching, and see ya.